Good morning, folks. We are back with Aragon, playing for the Mare Nostrum achievement, taking the entire coast of the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and Sea of Azov. And there's the minor detail of reforming the Roman Empire, but all in good time. Last time out, what did we do? Yeah, we took some land from Chiniz, mainly, stabilized our realm, and generally made plans for the future. This is going to be a relatively short stream because I have an errand to run in about just a little bit over an hour, so let's jump in without any more delay. Once again, I have been futzing with my sound settings, so I'm going to make sure things are looking okay. Okay, that is looking live. That is looking pretty live. Okay, and the bars are moving nicely. Alright, so we're in the middle of integrating Tlemcen. We have been improving relations with Navarra because everyone hates us because we passed a statute in restraint of appeals with regards to the Pope's moral authority. And, yeah, if they don't like that, they're not going to like what I'm about to do. Now, what do we have here? What do we have here? Lovely. No admiral, but never mind. Now, oh, hello. Okay. How are we looking for leaders at the moment? We're looking pretty not complete. Let's roll ourselves up an admiral. Good enough. Let's also get a couple more galleys on the go. Yep. Because one of the wonderful things... Okay, I didn't even need that. I just needed to have the force limit. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Lovely. And that also has been done. Oh, missionary strength is lovely. I'll take it. Which probably gives us a whole bunch of claims, so that's just lovely. Okay, these are the permanent claims, these are the claims I have been fabricating. Okay, that actually works against me slightly, because what I wanted to do is claim coastline. Don't really care about Constantine, Kef and Kerwan. What I do care about is taking all of this. But the claims you have push up the cost of further claims, so it's going to... Oh, no. Maybe not. Or maybe it did. Point is, I need to keep fabricating regardless. I can also fulfill the Crowns of Iberia to get a restoration of Union Casus Belli on Portugal, but we have a royal marriage and an alliance, so that can't be done just yet in any case. Let's start converting. We have the technology. That's in Bizerte, is it? Bizerte over here. Ah, you're actually not in a territory. That's quite nice. Quite nice. It's so nice. I think I'll enforce religious unity before I do so, just to get that timed out a little bit more. Yeah. It's going to make them unhappy, but what are you going to do? So you get out there in the 12th, you get out of there in the 11th. Let's take this off speed 4. Early moves. Oh, and I also have claims on Avignon, of course. Genoa will get involved, Luck will get involved, but Portugal won't because they like me and they're in debt. If either one of those was not true, Portugal would join in on the Pope's side here. Which we don't want. Alright, Pope me boy. Let's dance. Okay, now, Genoa have joined in, which puts the number of boats slightly in their favour, at least from the galley side. So I want to snipe as many ships as I can, as quickly as I can, although it looks like they're not coming to help them, their other navy out. That's good. That's good for me. And what's good for me is good for me. I need to sneeze. Great. My hay fever is not as bad as normal, which is lovely. Going there with 3 galleys. Well, I'm going there with 10 galleys. Steele, bring your ships this way as well, will you? We were having a little chat last time with Noch about the potential benefits of maritime ideas. I do like having a good strong navy. There's no arguing there in this kind of a situation. Goodbye, galleys. Get out of my sea. Or, to rephrase that, get out of Mare Nostrum. Which is really our sea, but hey-ho. Oh, and I captured a ship. How lovely for me. Not terribly lovely, because it will put me over force limit, but... Huh. Must have been captured on near to full health. By the look of it. Unless I'm just being blind as usual. Nope. Good stuff. Right, you're going back to port. You, though, you're just a simple galley. Living a simple life. You're going to the Gulf of Lion. Well, let's see if we can cut you off here. That's also... Where is the Pope's army? Don't know. Well, I'll just drink attrition for a wee while. I don't think you quite get home, buddy boy. I hope you don't. Côte d'Azur, huh? Funny, that's where I'm going too. What a coincidence. Ah, go on, you Castile. Well done. In the right way. So the ship stakes are looking a little bit more favourable. Genoa probably have a bunch of their boats over in... Although they've been losing a lot over here in Crimea, so they possibly don't. Who owns what? Oh, it's actually Genoa has no galleys. Huh. It's Lucca that's really pumping up the numbers here. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you would run back to port. Beggars. Ah, there's the Pope. And it's quite nice we keep our Curia controller ship. If you'll pardon the pun. The Curia controller ship, which I basically have no chance of getting unless I revoke the statute in restraint to appeals. So, make the most of it while we can. Rather a lot of them marching that way. But that means we can move up a little bit. You have no siege pips, Naples. Slightly disappointing. Can you get there, I wonder? Can, after all. That's good. I don't like the look of those numbers. Get this on speed 2 because time is of the essence. Much more than being careful is of the essence. Hopefully by the time you get there that will have been taken. Few forts along here as well. Savoy going for Genoa, huh? Whoa, ho 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 ho. Oh no, that's fine. That was my war they were doing there. Yeah, good luck with that, Savoy. Good luck. But if you want to murderize the Genoese army, I'm more than happy for you to do so, because they're bringing 12,000 odd to the table. Really, I'd quite like someone outside the Empire to take the land off them. But, what can you do? Oh, you got really well drilled. I like it. I like it a lot. No, Pope, you're going that way. I want to be ready. If, oh hey, Jacket Man. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, you are coming back this way. Maybe let's not charge in. Stay a couple provinces away. I want to jump on Genoa with a person, first of all, if someone's coming to siege it. But if they're not, I don't want to be... massacred by the Pope. So let's fall back to Firenze. Also, Naples, you're being pretty useless. You here. Attached to this guy. This is your objective. I'm an Iberian nation. Yeah, it's been a long time since I played in Western Europe. And I forgot just how France are involved. Beautiful. Yeah, it's pretty powerful playing as a Western European nation. There's no like, let's spend all of our monarch points spawning institutions so we don't have a horrendous 75% tech penalty. It's just like, hey, you're in an end trade node. Have all the money. Hey, you're getting spread of institutions just by virtue of where you are. Well done. There's a lot to be said for it. Great, Naples have taken the bait. And by bait I mean obeyed my strict instructions. Now, if I can wipe these guys out... I can't, because they ain't going that way. This game punishes you for heavy expansion? Yes, it does. I don't know how familiar you are with Europa, but since a good friend of mine, Chris, watches these videos and feels a little bit overwhelmed by the interface, because with good reason, because it is... There's a lot of things. I mean, these are little, alert cards, and I've got, what, 3, 6, 9, 12 of them telling me these are things you should be aware of. These are things you can do. I can click here. There's so much to it. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. But yes, if you expand heavily, okay, you can't really see it anywhere that I have it here. Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of that. That's the one I'm looking for. So the provinces that are red here feel angry about me expanding heavily, because I have taken a lot of North African land. So Morocco is angry about that because I took land from them. Tunis is unhappy about that because I took land from them. Not only that, it's not only if you take land directly from them, but if you take land from someone that they border, if you take land from someone who they share a religion with or a culture group, they get pretty pissed off about that. But you can see France don't care because they're my ally. Being an ally reduces that. And the rest of Europe don't really care either because, well, they're not good Catholic Christians, basically. When I do what I'm doing here and take over Rome, that will get the attention of the Europeans, and they will not like that. If I forget, remind me to show you the aggressive expansion. Well, that's not the aggressive expansion map mode, that's the coalition map mode. Hey, let's play 2D. You're doing an Aragon run yourself. What's your objective? Mine is Mare Nostrum, the entirety of the coastline here. But there's so much to do with Aragon. Oh, Castile, I don't fancy your chances here. Unless you can get back up very quickly. So here we have a battle in the mountains. Now the Pope has the bigger army, so he flanks the Castilians. I'm talking in really basic terms here. Just, you know, forgive if you know what I'm talking about. Forgive me talking down to you, but for those that don't, different things can affect the battle. The terrain can affect the battle, so he gets -2 to all his die rolls for attacking into mountains, but his general has a shock modifier, different phases in the battle, fire and shock, with associated die rolls, or actually dice rolls. It's, I think, 2d6. Your goal is Consulate of the Sea. Consulate of the Sea. Is that the one? Is that the same as the mission, or is that a separate achievement? Let me check that. Oh yes, all the Mediterranean centres of trade. Lovely. Actually, I'll probably end up picking that up along the way. Huh. Lovely. So yes, back to the battle. There's a lot of different modifiers. There's morale, maximum morale. All units have their own individual morale, and if the morale gets too low, the unit will shatter, basically, and run away. If your whole army loses morale, your whole army will run away, assuming they can. You can't retreat early in the battle. Discipline is basically a measure of how long your units are likely to stick around while taking damage. I believe it certainly used to affect damage given, and tactics. I forget exactly how they work, but they're all of these modifiers you want to have as high as possible. Ah, that's nice. That's nice getting that. So you can see Castile, they were heavily outnumbered. They had poor rules. They had no general. They are pretty much getting wiped out here. But they can run away because enough time has passed. The question I have is, I know the Pope did not join the war against a whole bunch of people, France included. Why am I fighting France? Good question. I'm not actually fighting France. France are my staunch ally, and you are quite correct. They are usually one of the more powerful nations. You can see this is, what, 40 years into the game. They've already recovered a lot of their land. They've taken some land from Burgundy. They've taken land back from England, because England tried to push that whole 100 Years' War thing and got stomped off the continent. No comment as to how relevant that is in these modern days, getting pushed off the continent, but yeah, I wouldn't want to. I will need to fight France at some point because they have provinces I need for the achievement I'm going for: Narbonne and Montpellier. But pick your battles wisely is the name of the game here. Now, the other slight quandary I have in the very short term is I have 2 sieges here. Sieges progress via die rolls. They start off in a negative percentage chance of winning, but the more progress you get, indicated by this number, the higher this number gets generally. It's also affected by a number of modifiers, like your general siege, like the number of cannons you have, whether a blockade is there, what the level of fort is, etc. But generally speaking, the longer time goes on, the more likely you are to win a siege. And when I win one of these sieges, the boats will pop out because they no longer have a friendly port, and I want to be there to kill them. Problem is, I don't know which of these is going to finish first. What's stopping me from taking out small nations? I'll get to that in a sec. That's a good question. What will probably happen is they'll both keep ticking up. They'll both get to about 48%, or 46%, and I'll have to just hedge my bets. Oh, it's not loading for you. Sorry, Let's Play. I stream at 3500 bit rate. Maybe I can think about bringing that down to maybe 32 or 300. But what stops you from taking out small nations like, say, Siena is alliances. They have an alliance with Mantua, and they're also in a trade league. So if I was to declare war on them, all these people would get involved, including Austria, because Austria is currently the Holy Roman Emperor. And Austria protects any external attacks on one of its members at the moment. You can get into situations where the Holy Roman Emperor is not Austria, but they will protect from external threats. Or if the Holy Roman Emperor is getting really battered, they might say, "Hey, we're too exhausted from war. We can't join in." One of our subjects has been seen fit to remind us, land in Palermo. Palermo. I should know where that is. It's probably in southern Italy. Yes, it is. So, what is their liberty desire at the moment? Yeah, I can afford to tank some liberty desire. Make integrating them a little bit quicker, but let's improve relations with Naples for the moment. Now, Naples has a fleet there as well. Oh, there we go. Roma falls first. That pushes these boats out. There'll be a naval engagement. I will win. Oh, actually, that's quite clever. So the AI sees that my boats are engaged and can't back up the Neapolitan boats. Neapolitan and Castilian boats. So they think, aha, this is our chance to push this navy away. Which is quite appropriate. But I can come and back up. Because I won that engagement. The AI is quite clever now about retreating, or a lot more clever than it used to be, shall we say, about retreating when the odds are not in its favour. And the Pope wants to come and do terrible things to my army. I cannot allow that. There we go. I can dissuade him from attacking me by threatening to reinforce. And he's going a different way now. Is that England attacking the Neapolitan navy? I can see why you would think that, but Genoa has the St. George's Cross for its flag. England's flag looks quite different, actually. England's flag has the three lions crossed with the fleur-de-lis. I think my heraldry is not my strong point, but basically it represents the crown of England at this time and the crown of France, which I don't know if England has actually formally revoked their claim to that ever, but we shall see. Now, this naval engagement is not really going to my favour because Genoa has a big heavy ship here. Heavy ships can soak up a lot of damage. But we are doing their damage to a lot of damage to their navy, so it's worth me staying in there. Right, okay, there we go. So we won that engagement, but now the Pope is here, so there's another naval battle which has just started, which is slightly unfortunate. We sunk 4 of their light ships, we sunk 3 of their galleys, and we sunk 4 of their... No, that's us. Helps if I look at what I'm doing here. I was expecting this to be the other way around. So we lost 4 light ships, we lost 3 galleys, and we lost 4 transports. They lost 2 light ships, 5 galleys, and 2 transports. They also had a very good admiral here. They had a very good admiral. Wow. That's a lot of naval tradition to gain from that. And immediately another battle starts with the papal galleys. Now, galleys are a special kind of ship that fight better in what are called inland seas, like the Mediterranean, for example. We can't see it now, but there's other inland seas near China. So I'm going to try and reinforce this battle so that I don't lose to these galleys. My navy is horribly beaten up from that last engagement. Oh, here comes the Pope. Now the Pope is locked into this battle. He is going to attack these 13 guys with his 15 guys plus General. I don't want that. So I'm going to back him up with the Neapolitan army, which is attached to mine. And the Pope decided he wasn't going to win that. So we traded boats there. I lost transport, he lost a galley, which is advantage burns for me. But I need to get my boats back in repair. Yeah, because they're a little bit beaten up. Not terribly badly. So, you can see the Pope again is flanking me. We're fighting in hills, and I get the attacker Malice. This is really counterintuitive, particularly if you've played previous versions of Europa where this was not the case early on in the game's days. But because I was sieging a fort, basically it treats me as the attacker, which is something it took me quite a while to get my head around when I started playing on versions where this was the case. So we're going to take a fair amount of damage from their better equipped, better generaled army, at least until reinforcements arrive now. And you can see now it's me that's doing the flanking and have the superior numbers. Oh, hello. That's not a good time for that fort to fall. Not a good time for that fort to fall at all. I need to get my ships to port very quickly. Alright, well, maybe that was okay then. So now, Naples has a general, which they're happily supplying the battle with. Will I win the battle? Probably. You can see their morale is fading faster than mine. If they'd gotten... I started off with higher morale, and I have the better numbers now that I've reinforced. I have, going against me, I have the terrain penalty, and he has cavalry that can flank even better because of the trait the general has. It's not quite anyone's battle, but could have gone against me if the rolls had been particularly bad. I'm going to go and chase him down. No, I can't. The other fun thing to get your head around here is forts exert a zone of control. Again, something that was not in the game in the early days. Meaning you can walk up to a fort and siege it, but you can't walk past it where it exerts its zones of control. And I'm Captain Mill because I'm hyper-focused on what I'm trying to do here. Now we can't quite unlock the next tech because we're way ahead of time. So what I will do, because it's useful, what I will do is I'll spend 100 on that, making my government stronger, improving my legitimacy. And I will spend another 50 of it on another general. Because generals are handy. These points you accrue over time based on how good your leader is, and they're basically a proxy for how able your country is to do things. If you're looking for a high-level concept overview. I try and chase this Luccan army down and kill him. Although I don't need to do that. I could get Lucca out the war just now. Now, I need this land at some point. But I don't necessarily want it just now. Because at the moment it's part of the Holy Roman Empire. And if as an external... Basically, it's a little bit complicated, but taking land in the HRE in the Holy Roman Empire is a pain in the backside. Because that modifier that I mentioned earlier, aggressive expansion, that makes people really dislike you, that is increased if you take land in the Holy Roman Empire. The other thing that can happen is the Emperor can say, hey, this isn't rightfully your land, give it back. And either you say yes and it goes back to the person you just took it from, or you say no and it incurs malices for a long time. Neither of which are really that great. But we'll have to do that at some point. But if I'm going to do that, I would rather have claims in place which make it slightly less onerous. So this giant war started. It's actually not that big. The belligerents, there's only 3 belligerents on their side, and me plus my junior partners of Castile, Naples, and Navarra, and my vassal of Tlemcen. This started by me declaring war on Rome. Rome called their allies Genoa and Lucca to defend them, and they dutifully did, because that's what an alliance is. That's right, I was going to get Lucca out of this war, because they are fully occupied. Their lands are completely controlled by me at the moment, temporarily. So, I am going to say I want Pisa to come out of view. How will I say that? It costs me diplomatic power, so I probably won't. I will just say, give me your money and give me money over time. And we'll leave it at that. But I'm going to get out of their land first. There we go. And then I can say, that's all I want. Goodbye for now. And then there were 2 belligerents on the other side. I no longer need to chase them down. Great. Navy is back to not quite full strength, but pretty much. I can say, damaged ship, please go and repair yourself. So if they're under my control, why isn't the land the same colour as my homeland? Another good question. They were under my occupation. Control is perhaps a slightly confusing way to phrase it. So I had sieged them and occupied them. That gives me some semblance of control over them. I could recruit mercenary units in them, for example. But it doesn't mean that I own them. For that, I have to take them in a peace deal. And if I did, they would then be, they'd then take on my colour. You can see I'm having to take a very circuitous route because this fort extends the zone of control to all the provinces it adjoins. Which means I can't walk from here through here. I have to go around that province, which means going around the Alps, just so I can get here. And France are landing on Corsica to murder the rest of the Genoese army. That's nice. Good on you, France. Now that's completely independent of what I'm doing. France are in their own war against Genoa. I believe they got called in by Savoy, their ally. Savoy attacked Genoa, and Savoy are allied with France, which is good for Savoy. So yes, it is just a military occupation, as you rightly say. And we murderize the Genoese some more. Stop them retaking the Pope's land. But again, we need to go all the way back around the Alps, just so we can get back down into Italy. France occupied Corsica, so that pushed out the Genoese fleet. So we have our 37 boats fighting that one heavy. Heavies can take a lot of damage, but they can't take 37 ships worth of damage for very long. Yeah, oh, now there's an interesting thing. Because we killed it so quickly, we captured it, basically. I'm not entirely sure of the mechanics of capturing ships, but it seems to happen when morale fades out before it takes enough damage to be sunk. So now I have a heavy ship. I have to think about what I want to do with that, because that pushes me over my naval force limit. And if you're over your force limit, whether naval or land-based armies, that cost you extra money. My money is looking pretty healthy, but that's because I like to think that's because I have a sound fiscal policy, and not because I just pay for things willy-nilly. Right, so yes, Jacketman, you are correct. I had a military occupation on the green lands of Lucca. I signed a peace deal with Lucca that did not involve taking land from them because I didn't want to take land that is part of the Holy Roman Empire. You will see when I peace out with the Papal State what happens when I do take land. That's actually not ideal that Savoy have this province. Not ideal at all. Not ideal that the Pope is looking to come down into Italy as well with superior numbers to my own. But yes, generally speaking, you have to sign a deal for them to become a part of your kingdom. There are other circumstances in which you can gain land, but they're usually by things that pop up called events. If rebels, things that look like this, they can cause provinces to change ownership as well if they stay in rebel hands for a certain amount of time. You can see other things happening here as well. You can see Genoa are getting gifts from the likes of Brittany and Milan. Now, Brittany are doing that probably because they dislike someone that Genoa is fighting. Same thing with Milan. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It kind of depends on the ruler's personality. But generally speaking, the AI will try and protect its interests. So the rebels just join in another nation, or do they form their own? Another good question. The answer is it depends. It depends why the rebels are there. You can have rebels, you can have all different kinds of rebels, it's great. So I have Sunni zealots. I'm trying to convert a province from Sunni to Catholic. And the Sunni people there don't like that, so they get unrestful, and that causes the rebel type to be Sunni zealots, I believe. They, I don't think, would defect. They just want to try and convert my land to Sunni. Whereas Portugal has Marrakesh separatists because the nation of Marrakesh used to be here until Portugal took them over. They would try and form the nation of Marrakesh and become a separate nation. They may succeed if Portugal can't get there. Morocco hates Portugal with a vengeance. And in fact, Portugal hates Morocco with a vengeance as well. Portugal took provinces from Morocco, and Morocco raided Portuguese ports. They hate each other, long and short of it. So although Portugal has a bigger army, they can't actually get there by walking. They have to use boats. And if they don't have enough boats to get there, then they're going to be in trouble. That is a tiny rebel stack though, so they should be able to deal with that. And we can see that once again boats were pushed out into the sea because we took over a province. And we are brutalising that navy because we're now using the heavy ship that we captured as well. And we captured another galley. This is going to get expensive for me to maintain. Now what do I want? Well, actually, I kind of wanted Nice, because I have a permanent claim on these provinces. But I can't take that because it's occupied by Savoy, which is slightly irksome. Slightly. The other thing I cannot do, because France went and occupied land in Savoy's name, is I can't release the nation of Corsica, which I would like to have done. Or even just take Corsica. Yeah, I do have a claim there as well. France have been very, very unthoughtful in the lands that they have occupied in their allies' name. Very unthoughtful. I'm going to make a lot more money when I take the Papal States. You would think so, yes. Rome is a very, very rich province, but let's have a look at land I recently took. There we go. So in my previous war, I took land from Chinese. This land has a lot of autonomy because it does not... Basically, autonomy is a measure of, and forgive me for saying this, a measure of how autonomous a province is. The more autonomous it is, the less tax it pays you, the less production it has, the less manpower it gives your army, basically. It has a relatively high autonomy, and I increase the autonomy as well, because giving a land more autonomy drives down the unrest, which is helpful to not get rebels. So, although I took these lands 12 years ago, they've still got about 3/4 autonomy, and so they don't contribute that much to me, even though they have a reasonable amount of development, which is a measure of how, a kind of proxy measure of how much they're worth. So although Rome is a lovely province to have for certain reasons, it's not going to make me a lot of money straight off the bat. The reason I say for certain reasons as well will become apparent very shortly. So I need to think what I'm doing. I need to think if I'm actually going to take land from Genoa. You can see that that would cause a lot of aggressive expansion for just one province. To also be a province that I could not walk to if there was a problem in it, potentially. So I'm in a bit of a quandary here. My plan had been to take one province from Genoa, release Corsica as a nation, or take Corsica, and take Rome. But I find myself thwarted. So I think I will just take money for now, and we'll come back and give them a pasting later. I could make Genoa do other things, like give land back to Crimea for their holdings over here, but I have no interest in doing that. Oops, wrong thing. Yeah, that'll do for now. Might as well make them give up claims on me, because it increases my prestige by a small amount. It's a shame to have fought a war and not to take rightful land from it, particularly land that I need for an achievement, but we're early in the game. There's plenty of time for war. If there's one thing you have time for in Europa generally, it is time for war. Wait for my diplomat to get back from signing that peace deal. And now I say to the Pope, give me Rome. And give me your money. And give me war reparations. Oh, I probably want Avignon as well. Which is not going to please my good friend France. So let's preemptively improve relations with France. You can see what land a country is interested in by going to the diplomatic feedback tab in diplomacy. Now, these red ones are provinces that France sees of vital interest. and they will do what they can to acquire these provinces. Interesting that they view Sussex and Kent as such. But fortunately for me, most of their interests, their vital interests, lie to the north. These yellow provinces are provinces they'd like to have because they see them as strategically useful, but they're not willing to do or die over it. And as Benerfi says, yes, there are different government types, and different things can change your government type, and depending on your government form, will depend on how your country is ruled, which is a not very clear way of saying there's lots of different government types, and they can be quite different. A monarchy, which Aragon is, and most of Western Europe is, ruler rules until death, and they're pretty much an absolute ruler, modified only by the estates in the country, but really their rule is absolute. Places like Venice are merchant republics. They have elections, and rulers rule for a certain number of years. Later on, as Benerfi says, you can reform your government and you can introduce other things like, say, Parliament, which England starts off with. Parliament means you have debates and you need to bribe MPs to pass your debate, but you get nice, strong modifiers for that. A country like the Papal State will be, well, they have their own special theocracy type, but you have other lands that are theocracies. Which one is a theocracy? Mans, I think, is a theocracy. And again, they have their own succession rules. It's not the same dynastic thing that monarchies have. They can't have personal unions, for example, like I have over Castile, Navarra, and Naples, but they do have heirs, unlike merchant republics. Right, that's right. So the Pope's going to give me these two lands I've occupied. You can also see I have a claim on each of these lands, which represents some legitimacy in viewing that province as my own. As the tooltip says, Aragon has some legitimacy in viewing this province as theirs. And that's for Rome. I was looking at Avignon, but that's for Rome. I kind of wanted to leave Avignon in the Pope's hands because I don't need it for the achievement, and I thought if I was kicking the Pope out of Italy, it would be kind of nice to exile him to Avignon once again. A nice little throwback to the Pope in exile, but yeah, you can't have everything. So, to go back to what I was saying before, let's have a look at the aggressive expansion coalition map mode. So, at the moment, nobody really cares about the stuff I've done in North Africa. Everyone's like, he's not that aggressive. When I take stuff from the Pope, you can see that made a few people slightly unhappy. So now they have a slightly negative opinion of me. And that is reflected here. That's the overall opinion of the Pope. Now, I want to immediately, or not quite immediately, after a month, start improving my relation with the Pope. Because the Pope is the Pope, because the Papal States are the Pope. Oh, here we go. Once the control of the papacy passes from my grasp, which it will when the Papal States ruler dies, they can excommunicate me, and being excommunicated is not fun. The other thing that is not fun is when you take Rome, this event happens. The deep devotion of Roman Catholics in Rome has awakened a desire for an independent state ruled by the popes of the Church. A large part of the population has expressed support for the idea of such an establishment, and now has turned to Henrique I for approval. Henrique I being my ruler. So, one of the options you have is to give Rome right back to the Pope, and the other option is don't do that. But you lose prestige, you lose stability. I forgot you lose stability. And every Catholic nation hates you. But it has to be done at some point, so now is as good a time as any. And yes, as Benerfi says, if I had taken all of this land, what would probably have happened would have been a coalition would have formed against me. Ooh, interesting. Florence took this land previously and a coalition formed against them, so you might be about to see that. But possibly not, because they still had their cores, so it would count as reconquest. A coalition is not like an alliance, but it basically represents everyone getting pissed off at what you did and wanting to kill you as a result. As Benerfi says, yes, it's a bit like the Napoleonic Wars. Everyone decides they've had enough of you, and they want to kill you. That's what unites them, and it's a slightly different type of war. You can't make separate pieces with coalition members, as I did with Genoa and Florence, and they're less likely to want to peace out as well. Or less inclined to peace out, I should say. The other problem with taking Rome is you get this permanent triggered modifier. See that here? The occupation of Rome. It affects your diplomatic reputation and yearly papal influence. The yearly papal influence I don't really care about anymore, because statute in restraint of appeals already completely knackers my papal influence. That I could repeal, to be fair. But that diplomatic reputation basically means it's harder for me to perform diplomatic actions like signing alliances, convincing people to do my will diplomatically. And you are quite right, Jacket Man. Nobody wants to fight a multiple front war. Well, at least not until you get a lot bigger. So I took one more of the provinces that I need for this achievement that I'm pushing for. Mare Nostrum. It would help if I could spell. There you go. Restore the Roman Empire and own the entire Mediterranean Black Sea coastlines. I would say the description is not totally accurate, because you also need to own the Sea of Azov coastline as well. 142 provinces you need. And I have 26 so far. Although I actually have slightly more than that, because I also technically, not technically, but I will have control of these provinces once control of Castilian and Tlemcenian land passes to me, which will happen very soon for Tlemcen, not quite so soon for Castile. Oof. Castilian liberty desire. Better diplomatic technology. Okay, fine. That's okay for now. Now. Okay, that's fine. Dumb question. There is no such thing as a dumb question. Can you take the entire world in the amount of time that I have? Yes. That's called a world conquest, and many people do it. It's a bit of an undertaking, because the amount of world I can see is a lot less than the entire world. Seems obvious, but yeah, it's worth remembering just how big the world is. It's about the size of the world. Yes, things get a little bit faster towards the end of the game, where you get certain modifiers that make taking land quicker and easier. And you get access to different, what are called casus bellis, causes for war. But yes, it is possible. And in fact, there are achievements for doing that. The best known, of course, is where's Three Mountains? The Three Mountains? Okay, why can I not see this? Why am I so blind? Let me double check that if it is called The Three Mountains or Three Mountains. The Three Mountains. Yet it's not here. Well, the point is, there is an achievement to conquer the entire world, starting as the small nation of Ryukyu, which is one province minor off the coast of Japan, which is not in a great position to conquer the world, shall we say. Maybe I've already done it. I think I would remember if I'd done the Three Mountains. Although, that would make sense. Has someone been playing Europa on my computer? One snuck onto my computer and done the Three Mountains. The Three Mountains. No, I haven't done it. Oh well. Ah, I imagine that it does not show up because shoot, Portugal. It's actually fine. Portugal don't want to keep our alliance because why? -8. Right, so there are... Okay, I'm allied to 2 of their rivals. That is making them unhappy. And my army is not quite as strong as it could be. I kind of want the alliance to break for reasons that might not be entirely obvious immediately, but I can immediately get at any point get a restoration of Union Casus Belli in Portugal and force them into a union under me. I don't want to do that at the moment because I have quite a few under me and quite a few that are kind of creeping towards the 50% mark. And I can't attack Portugal at the moment anyway because we have a royal marriage. So I'm going to improve relations with them. I'm not breaking my alliance with France to please Portugal, that's for sure. And I'm not removing England as a rival. The reason I can't see the Three Mountains is because I don't know about Ryukyu. I assume it will only show you achievements for which you have seen the part of the world that applies to. I can't think of one that would make that obvious other than the Three Mountains. This will only show you things you can't do, is what I'm getting at here. Right, let's pump up the speed a little bit here, because I need to head off very soon, unfortunately. I am really enjoying this, but makes me slightly sad to increase autonomy here, but better that than a revolt. Maybe it's at the top. I'll check at the top, but I think it is the fact that I cannot see it. Oh boy, no. Okay, well, there's a couple of things that just happened. Portugal broke their alliance with us. That's fine. That gives us a truce, which will end in 5 years. Ottomans no longer think of me as their rival, which is kind of nice, actually. Doesn't change my opinion of them right enough. And there's a new papal controller. I no longer control the papacy, which immediately means I no longer have a diplomat, and I no longer have the benefit of being papal controller, among which I believe is is a reduction in aggressive expansion. And I just realised I could have divorced Portugal for free. That's something I forgot to do, or I can just completely forgot about. And we're writing the middle tech limits, so question is whether I want to take this idea group of defensive. I normally would go aristocratic, or quantity is lovely as well, obviously. Offensive is great as well. They're all pretty good. But I never usually take defensive. So I want to. Although I'm doing a very aggressive offensive campaign, I'll take defensive just because it's different from what I normally take. There we go. And good question. Why is Serbia still there? Serbia have been doing well, actually. I think the Ottomans started strong, but seem to have fallen back a little bit. A way we can check. They'll be gone soon. Yeah. Probably. Serbia have no allies, certainly, and Ottomans have their claims there, so I really don't know what's stopping the Ottomans. How can we check that? We don't have a diplomat. Let's pull that guy back. They don't seem to have any debt either. Oh well, no war exhaustion, so... Royal marriage with France has ended. Let's keep that going. Ally them and diplo-vassalize them. That's an interesting move. If they had coastline, if they had Ragusa, I would possibly think about pursuing that because the distance between borders would become minimal. At the moment, that's going to hurt me. And my economic base is apparently not big enough. That's the long term strategy. That would be, if I was smart, I would do that. But I'm not smart, so I'm just going to go barbarian smash the Ottoman coastline in the future. And let's get a cannon for each of our armies here. And also, you should be drilling, boyo. As should you. There we go. Goodbye, Serbia. And hello, Liberty Desire in everybody. Okay, that's getting a little bit fine for my liking. We'll take up and dip soon enough. There you go. Bavaria returned unlawful territory. So Salzburg. So let's just find it. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. I think I've been to Salzburg. I should know where it is. Salzburg was taken over by Bavaria. They took it in a peace deal. It was theirs, their land. Austria, the emperor, said, that's not rightfully yours, give it back. And so they said, yeah, okay then. There's ways around that. If you're still at war, I believe, it's been a while since I've taken unlawful territory and mechanics may have changed, the emperor can't demand it from you. If the emperor really likes you, they might not demand it from you. And if you take 2 provinces, the emperor can't demand 2 in a row, or they're less likely to demand 2 in a row. And feel free to correct me on any of that, because as I say, it's been quite a while since I've taken unlawful territory and the mechanics may have changed. Rip Serbia. Yeah. I don't see them surviving this terribly well. They've done well at Hungary's expense, but not well enough that that will save them. I really need to keep an eye on my time here. It's just about 9:30 and I need to head off at about... certainly no later than 10:45. Ah, excellent. Another age ability. Oh, I could start a golden era. What is the meta on golden eras? I kind of want to... I always feel like I want to save it. But I tend to save things and then never use them, which is not optimum, certainly. Which of these was I going to go for? I do like cavalry. But I also like claims bordering claims, so let's go with that. Ah, there we go. So Savoy took this land that I am really quite interested in. What does that make the world think of Savoy? Not too much. Not too much at all. But again, unfortunately, Savoy is, well, doubly unfortunate. Savoy is a member of the Empire, so Austria and all their little friends will back them up, and France would as well. So I ain't gonna be attacking them soon. Cheers for coming along, Jacket Man. Enjoy your day. I'm gonna head out as well soon enough, so you're gonna miss another 10 minutes or so, and it'll be on the VODs and up on YouTube at some point. And I'll be returning to this probably tomorrow morning, if not later today. Yeah, Ottomans are just tearing through Serbia. There we go. Our province is converted to good, honest Catholic, which brings down the unrest quite nicely. Let's keep those conversions rolling. Is what I would say. Yeah, that's fine. Excellent. Free admin. Love it. Love it so much. Love it so much that I'm thinking I should actually have a... I should not have a... Since I'm so far behind in dip tech, I should maybe be taking an administrative idea first, rather than a diplomatic one. The other thing I'm terrible about is picking ideas, because they all have their uses. Religious is lovely, particularly if I'm going to be taking this non-Catholic land. Expansion, if I was colonizing, would be lovely, but I'm not, so it's out. Humanist, less separatism. Had a pretty good Byzantium run going, but it was ruined by an Ottoman-Hungary unholy alliance. That is unholy. You need Hungary to contain the Ottomans, not ally with them. It gets really bad when Ottomans end up somehow allying the Mamluks. I think I've seen that happen once. They should have historical rivals. I don't know how that was overcome. Historical rival. Yeah. It's like, none of this land is going to be yours anytime soon. It's all locked off. I've completely lost my train of thought there. That's right, ideas. And the choosing thereof. Again, I should probably go for something that I don't normally go for. So maybe innovative or humanist. I very rarely take humanist. Truce with Morocco has ended. Don't tempt me. But actually, that's not tempting at all, because I have all the land I need from Morocco. Portugal can gobble the rest. Trade, again, yeah, trade would be really useful here, because in taking the coastline I will end up dominating trade here. But I don't want to fall too far behind in diptech for reasons of liberty desire and unbalanced research. Although I probably will go trade, because I don't often do that. And what do I normally take? What do I normally take? I mean, there's solid choices throughout. I am really prevaricating here. To save me having to make a decision, I am actually going to stab up. I thought I captured some light ships during that war, but I clearly didn't. Oh yeah, that's right. How is my force limit looking? Still pretty 30. Well, that's a thing. How much are we making? How much is it actually costing us being over force limit? Probably about a ducat, maybe half a ducat. Okay. We can get around that just by mothballing this temporarily. Maybe Humanist, but I think it's really weak. Humanist, I mean, if you're playing a gobbling nation, which I am, that years of separatism reduction is really handy, particularly in conjunction with maximum promoted cultures, because you can have, oh, excellent, another siege pip, love it. Oh, Tunis, that's what I'm looking for. Truce up, I also love that. You can then culture convert as well once the separatism's gone, assuming that it's not a primary culture, of course. Extra tolerance, less unrest. It's basically, I don't want to have rebels, the idea group, and that has a lot to be said for it. Clearly, you can get around rebels other ways by raising autonomy and so forth. It probably has useful policies as well, but I rarely get that far. Yeah. I mean, look at it. It's like extra religious unity, so lower stability costs and less unrest, less unrest, less unrest if you have heretics. If you don't, then that's completely pointless. Less separatism, so less unrest. More promoted cultures, so less unrest and more tax and trade and so forth. Improve relations, meh. And tolerance of heathens, again, less unrest if you have them. If you don't, meh. If I go expansion, I could use the colonists to colonize the desert path to Africa once I conquer Tunis. True, but that's not really the goal here. It's a thought, but I probably will just be sticking to this region and not even dipping my fingers that far away from the coast, unless something like a mission needs it. For example, dominate Genoa needs Avignon, I believe, because it's in the province region. See, Liguria, West Mediterranean. Something needed it. Something needed it, but I'm not sure what it was. That's what I could do. I could develop Valencia for that mission as well. Let's do that. Extra local goods till the end of the game. Have some more free money because you're playing in Western Europe. Right, let's stop the drilling. Get the armies over. Alright, I also need to unmothball the ships. What I am really confused by is why Navarra does not walk home. They have, or at least had, military access through Portugal, which they don't have anymore. Maybe that's why. But, I mean, they had it. They could have walked home. So, I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my armies in position. Oh, excellent. More drilling pips. I love it. Get my armies in position and I'll declare on Tunis first thing next time. The Shadow Kingdom. This is excellent. Goodbye, Holy Roman Empire influence in the north of Italy. Lovely. I heard you want to conquer land, the event. Let's also get these guys out of mothballs because Tunis will still have a navy to speak of. Let's also hope, yeah, they don't. They never got that alliance with the Ottomans back. And Theodoro is going to go for Genoa as well. Bad time to be Genoa. I should definitely have turned on cheaper development and burger modifier before doing that. I forget about these things. I forget about these things because I don't forget about them when I'm elsewhere. I like, right, if I'm having to develop for a institution, right, how many modifiers can we stack? Can we even maybe wait for an event that'll give me less development cost? But yeah. The burger one, I suppose. Should do these modifiers anyway. I'll do them next time. You're right, I forget these things. And that's kind of what I was getting at earlier on. Europa is a game where you can forget to do things quite easily, even if you've been playing the game for quite a while, which I have. Not as long as some, but quite a while. To a new player, I can very much understand how everything, all the information presented can seem quite overwhelming. But I hope with the narration and explanations I was giving, that becomes a little bit less mystifying. So let's advance a month, and then I'll call it there, because I need to get going to an appointment. Anyway, thanks to everyone who tuned in and asked questions, and Benerfi in particular for explaining some things better than I could. I will be back either tomorrow morning or later today with more Europa, possibly Deep Rock Galactic later today. I had a tweet picked up by the Deep Rock Galactic account, which was quite nice. I liked that. Anyway, cheers guys, catch you later.